Hi guys, I am Sujeet and you are watching Sweet Academy. Today we are going to discuss a very beautiful poem known as To COY Mistress. This poem has been written by Andrew Marvell. Andrew Marvell was a frontline poet of the 17th century. He was a well-known metaphysical poet. His poems are often infused with paradoxes, although they seem to be very simple and rhythmic. He chooses very simple and common words, but his poems are often very critical and difficult to understand. To COY Mistress is a very loving and sensuous poem. The poet seems to be an amorous bird dying for his beloved. This poem seems to be written during the 1650, as we do not have the perfect date about that. But before going through this poem, we must understand what a metaphysical poet is. A metaphysical poem often has puns, paradoxes, unnatural comparisons, irony, biblical references and illusions. That is, the poets of the metaphysical poetry often seem to take unnatural examples. They just try to take the readers to a great height which is unknown to them so far. Here in this poem, that is To COY Mistress, the poet is trying to convince or woo his shy or coy mistress to make love with him. He just wants to say, enjoy the present, live in the present. Generally, Andrew Marvell is said to be a poet of a spirit, but in this poem especially he talks about the physical love, as he says that human life is transient, so enjoy the present moment. He just wants to talk to his beloved to love at present. The whole poem is about a passionate love, and he has used several puns and illusions also. So let's start now. Had we but well enough a time, this coyness lady were no crime. The poet here is trying to convince his poetess or beloved that if he had time, lots of time, then her coyness, her shyness would have been no problem for the poet if he had lot of time. Means the poet just wants to mention that life is short, it is not permanent, it is temporary. So it is better to come together to make love rather wasting time in coyness. We would sit down and think which way to walk and pass our long love's day. The poet just creates this situation to his beloved that if they had lot of time, that they would sit together, talk together, think together, and they would walk together, and thus they pass their days in loving, in talking like that, if they had lots of time. Now he further imagines, thou means you, by the Indian Ganges side should Raliways find. Okay, the poet now is talking about the space. First he talks about the time, now he talks about the space, that his beloved would be at the site of Indian Ganges. Okay, and she would be trying to find out rubies, great stones, expensive stones, and he means the poet by the tide of Humber, he would sit near the tide of Humber. Humber is in England and Gange is in India, means a distance he is trying to maintain. Then even if his beloved would have been trying to find rubies at the Indian Ganges, and he, the poet himself, would sit at the river Humber in London, and they could complain. You already know that between the lovers there is always a complaint, okay, about the distance. So there would not be a problem if they would do so, if lots of time would be there. I would love you 10 years before the flood. Now, as I have already mentioned you, there are so many biblical references and allusions mentioned in this poem. So here the flood, the poet actually wants to say, as the metaphysical poets usually use references from the Bible. The flood talking about the pralay, you must have heard, Armageddon, when the whole earth was submerged into water. Okay, that is the biblical reference when Noah was there. So he says, and this had happened about 4,000 years ago. So the poet says that if they had lots of time, then there would not be problem, and he, means the poet, would continue to love her even with 10 years. 10 years is not just the numerical value, just try to understand there is a gap between the flood, it means the beginning of the earth, means the beginning of the earthen life on the earth, and you should, if you please, refuse, and the girl, the beloved, would continue to refuse as much as possible because they had lots of time till the conversion of the Jews. Okay, now talk about the Jews. Jews are the people who hate the Christians, and Christians also hate the Jews. Okay, because no Jews want to convert themselves into the Christians, and it is thought that if all the Jews are converted to Christianity, then it would be the end of the world, means it would be the judgment day. So it is almost impossible. So the take for example, means how beautifully the lines have been written, that from the flood, means from the beginning of the earth to the end of the earth, the poet would love her, and the poetess, means beloved, would have time to refuse him. Great. My vegetable love. My vegetable love. What kind of love it would be? Just try to understand what is my vegetable love. The vegetable is the vegetable grows very slowly, it is pure, it is natural. That's what the poet wants to say. So here vegetable is not a noun, here vegetable is used as an adjective. Okay, showing the quality of love. What kind of love he has got? He has got the vegetable love, but I don't think so he has got the vegetable love. There is no purity in his love, because he wants to make love. There is a sensual desire in him. Now let's start. My vegetable love should grow, means it should grow like the vegetable, like the plants, vaster than empires, means faster than the empires. Empires, you know, means kingdom of big kings, and more slow, means it would grow slowly, and 100 years. Now here suddenly from here to here we have talked about the time and a little bit space, and the poet says that if we had time, because generally we say that the lover always try to praise the beauty of his beloved. Okay, so he is also trying to do here, and he says that you are so beautiful, how he would take time to praise. Now he says, and 100 years should go to praise thine eyes. Okay, means your eyes and your forehead are so beautiful that I would take 100 years to praise your eyes, and I will continuously gaze at your beautiful forehead. Okay, such beautiful you are. Is that clear? Just mind it. I will come back to this line again. And 200 to adore each breast. Okay, you know, because he has got the sensual desires, he is more interested in having love with her. Okay, so he says that he would take 200 years to adore, to praise her breasts. Okay, now just look at there. If he had the true love, then he would have taken 200 years to praise her eyes, because generally the lovers praise the eyes and not the breast. But here he is interested more in sensual desire. That's why he takes only 100 years to praise her eyes and 200 years to praise her breast. It means it shows that this is his sensual desire, means carnal desire he is getting. But 30,000 to rest, and he says that rest of the parts of the body would take 30,000 years to be praised, to be appreciated, and age at least to every part, means her every part of the body is so beautiful that it would take an age to praise her. And the last is, now he comes back to the spiritual love again. He shows that yes, after I will praise your heart, I praise your heart after praising each and every part of your body. And the last is, should show your heart, means when nothing will be left, then I will show your heart, how beautiful your heart is. Here he has come back to the spiritual love again. For lady, now he says, for lady, you deserve this estate. Means thousands of years I am taking to praise you, to appreciate you. It is just because you deserve it, you are suitable for that. Nor would I love at lower rate. And maybe that his lady has great confusion that after 30,000 years of praising, maybe the love would decrease. Okay, but he says no, even after spending so many years, my love will not come down to a lower rate. Means the love will never decrease. But at my back, now he comes, as I have already told you that this is the common thought, that whenever the lover tries to praise the beloved, then after that he has some desire to make with her. And here the poet is also doing the same thing, but he first takes the time to appreciate her beauty, and now he is talking about his real desire, real ambition. And he says, at my back I always hear time's winged chariot hurrying near. This is another biblical reference. Generally it is taught that time always passes with its winged chariot. Chariot means what? The carrier. And he says that time is passing so fast. The time is passing so fast. So I think that we don't have much of the time. And yonder all before us, means he is now talking about the past. Before us lie the deserts of vast eternity. Is that clear? Here both he has matched or mixed the time and space together. Deserts of vast eternity means vast, an unknown future. Okay, where the future ends, and when the future ends nobody knows. There is a kind of desert, vast eternity, means we don't know, we cannot fathom it. And that's why I say that the time is passing fast. Okay, so thy beauty shall no more be found. Okay, and he says that you are not immortal, and your beauty too is not immortal. Okay, what is the use of the beauty if we don't use it properly? That's why it says that beauty shall no more be found. You will grow old. Okay, so my ma'am, in the marble vault means coffin. You know already, Christian after death means his body is lied down in a coffin. He says that your body will be in the marble vault, marble coffin. Okay, and there in the coffin shall sound my echoing song, means you cannot hear my song there. And there what will happen in the coffin? There worms, the insects shall eat that long preserved virginity. What he is talking about, his main ambition is this one, the virginity. Is that not? The lady's virginity is the main ambition of this poet. And he so that's why he is talking about in the past what shall happen if you are so quiet, you are quiet enough not to come to me, then what will happen? Even if your long preserved virginity, after your death what will happen? This virginity will be eaten away by the worms. So there is no benefit in quietness, in shyness. And your quaint honor, this is again the hidden meaning, the same thing. This is the same thing here, the virginity, or you can put here, and your quaint means virginity will turn to dust. What is the use such a beautiful body if it turns to dust without making love? And into essays all my lust, and says, look, this one is this, if only one word which can be described as a theme of this poem, then this is lust. This is the lust of the poet. He just wants to make love with his beloved, and that's why he says that your quaint honor, your virginity will turn to dust, and my lust will turn to the ashes. It is of no use, so there is no wisdom in that. The graves and fine private place, and says that the grave is a good place, a private place, a secret place. This is a lonely place, but none I think do their embrace. There we cannot make love together, because each person is given its or separate place. Okay, so here is not talking about the spiritual love, he is talking about the physical love. Now therefore the resolution is what? While the youthful hue, still you have got the youthful hue, means color, sits on the skin like morning dew. Okay, you shine like a morning dew, you are still beautiful, so young. So, and while thy willing soul transpire, and every pore with instant fires, we can find in every pore, in every hole, we find that there is a fire, means your whole body instantly fires. it shows fire of what? Sensuality in me. So let us export us. So let us come together. Export means make love while we may, as long as we may. And now like amorous birds of prey, and the love birds, like amorous birds, like the loving birds, rather at once our time devour than languish in his slow chapped power. Okay, before the power of time devours us, eats us, before the time eats us, before the time finishes us, we should better export, make love. And now he proposes her, let us roll all our strength and our sweetness up into one ball. Okay, means while making love we will become one. Our bodies, two bodies will become one. We'll use at all our strength to make this love. This also shows the great ambition, great lust of the poet. He says to his beloved to use their whole strength to become into one, become one body, and tear up pleasures. The pleasures should be so much, so great that the rough strife through the iron gates of life. Our iron gates means what? The bones, the body that has sheltered or imprisoned our soul. He says that we must make so much pleasure that the iron gates of life cannot just protect it or catch it. He just wants to say that they should make pleasure, make love so much so that the gates, iron gates of life, means the body of life cannot stop them. Thus, though we cannot make our sun stand still, here sun means time. He says, although we have no power to make our time still, means time continues to pass, yet we will make him run. So better time, let the time pass, let the sun continue to rise and fall. We should continue to make love. I think you have understood the whole poem. Please comment. Thank you for watching me.